So ever since Wuthering Waves first came out, there's been this kind of shift in the gacha community, which I've noticed, and I think a lot of other people have noticed as well. And well, there's a recent event that actually happened, which actually kind of proves this, and there's an interesting discussion going on around Honkai Star Rail and some of their latest updates, and also how Wuthering Waves was also kind of involved in, getting that to happen in the first place, which is sparking a lot of people in the community to be saying that Wuthering Waves was the ones that saved Hoyoverse, or Wuthering Waves were the ones to save another company. And well, I wanted to discuss this kind of statement and kind of go through whether this is actually true or not, as there's been a lot of different factors that Wuthering Waves have actually brought into the gacha community, which I feel like definitely needs to be talked about, and how they've actually been a really big positive influence for a lot of these companies and also games as well. But before I get into this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you guys do enjoy it, and also go to Game Services, my code Kazakh. Again, they got a ton of really cool stuff. I definitely recommend going over there. They got a new event out at the moment, so I definitely recommend checking that out. It looks really cool. They got a ton of stuff coming in that event. It'll be out in like 1 or so days time, which again is going to be absolutely amazing. So yeah, definitely go over there, use my code Kazakh and get 10% off. But let's get back into the video. So this was a tweet that came out from Honkai Star Rail, which was a developer radio talking about 3.0 and some of the changes that they're bringing. Now I won't bore you by going through all of it. I don't really cover Honkai Star Rail on this channel or any of my channels, to be honest, but it is really exciting to see that they are making a lot of these changes. It was a whole article that they actually released on Hoyoverse talking about some of the changes that they're going to be bringing in the future, 3.1, 3.2 kind of updates, stuff like that, and how, they plan to make this game better in general. Now they say Hoyoverse is a year-long journey, and these story and puzzle solving optimizations are just the beginning. The Express crew will continue to optimize content. We're excited to bring everyone bigger and better journey experiences. To name some examples, we'll be adding richer combat gameplay and challenge goals to the game. In addition, issues close to the Trailblazers' heart, including difficulty deploying older characters on the battlefield and the strengthening of these older characters, are already on schedule. Stay tuned for future content updates. Now, if you don't know, Honkai Star Rail has had a big issue in terms of old characters just being viable in teams, and obviously there's been this big talk about power creep, all this kind of stuff. I don't really want to get into the argument, but I think a lot of people can understand that that has been an issue for a long time, of a lot of characters just being pretty much unusable, which again isn't great to see, and obviously a lot of people weren't very happy with that, and the game state wasn't that great. But it seems like this change that's going to come, them buffing old characters, it's really going to help them. And they've also added other stuff, for example like a skip button to the story. Now that does have some caveats behind it on where you can actually skip, but again, I've been in Honkai Star Rail clicking constantly because I don't care about that part of the story too much, and it's really annoying. But it's really great that they've added these optimizations, because it can allow people to get through the story quicker, and it can allow people to just have a better experience of 3.0. But how does Wuthering Waves actually come into this? Well, this was one of the first tweets that I saw, was Honkai Star Rail making improvements, Genshin Impact making improvements, Zealous Zone Zero making improvements, which is a very good point, by the way. All of them have been making improvements. This is something that would have only happened if a competitor like wuwa enters the field. Fate Go isn't provoking the competition like this, neither is any other gacha game, not even Tower of Fantasy. This is a positive result. Now I don't know why they're taking a shot at Fate Go there. I feel like that's got nothing to do with Genshin Impact, to be honest. I feel like they're quite far in terms of what kind of gacha games they are, but hey, that's fine. But yeah, it does seem like obviously this is a massive bonus for all of us, because me personally, I play games like Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, Zealous Zone Zero, Wuthering Waves. I play pretty much every single gacha game that gets talked about in the space, plus some more ones which don't really get talked about that often. And I feel like it's an improvement for all of us. So before people go on and say like, oh, like how dare you say that Wuthering Waves is like one of the key reasons behind this, I'm excited about the changes too. Okay, I'm not trying to downplay anything. I'm not trying to downplay how well Hoyoverse have actually done with this, but it is kind of obvious that Wuthering Waves have come into the space and it's pushed Hoyoverse to do even more. Hoyoverse were a very lazy company before, whenever it comes to like Genshin Impact updates and stuff like that. Now Genshin Impact, it's still pretty like lacking in a lot of stuff, but they definitely have stepped up ever since. And obviously we've got games like Honkai Star Rail and Zealous Zone Zero, where the devs actually listen much more, and it feels like there's actual competition now, which is really great. And that's one of the reasons why I think that Wuthering Waves have actually contributed to the kind of success of some of these newer updates that Hoyoverse have brought out, and how popular Hoyoverse is still getting, even with some of these games and some of these improvements. Because let's be real, I think that if Wuthering Waves didn't exist, or if it doesn't even have to be Wuthering Waves, if some kind of competition didn't exist, I feel like Honkai Star Rail will probably still have the same issues it did. I feel like Zealous Zone Zero, maybe they would fix some of it, because again, their dev teams are different, so they do have different kind of stuff that they want to work on. But I feel like a lot of the issues that a lot of Hoyoverse players had in the past would still be existing to this day if there wasn't some kind of competition there. And I think that's why Wuthering Waves have actually provided this really good sense of competition for them, because it makes every single game improve, including Wuthering Waves itself. And I feel like it's a very good thing for Wuthering Waves in general. Wuthering Waves have been releasing update after update, trying to improve. That's because they're competing with games like Zenless Zone Zero, which came out at a similar time. Now, is Zenless Zone Zero much bigger in terms of revenue and popularity? Of course, because it's a Hoyoverse game. Let's just be real. Hoyoverse are a massive company. They managed to do advertising very, very well, and there's definitely some kind of advertising techniques for Wuthering Waves to take from games like Zenless Zone Zero and stuff like that, because they do a very good job at it. And then pretty much we go to another tweet where they're quote retweeting this one, saying, "So ever since we were released, all 3 of the Hoyo biggest games randomly decide to listen to player feedback and add meaningful quality of life. This surely isn't a coincidence, right? And still there are some people hating on Kuro when all they did was bless the gacha sphere." Now, I feel like it's a bit unfair to be like, you can't hate Kuro just because they helped push Hoyoverse a little bit further. You can still hate Kuro and still believe that they helped to push the other games further. I feel like they don't really correlate that much, but again, I don't feel like what they're saying is wrong. I feel like this tweet was a little bit kind of incendiary in terms of the wording that they've done, but hey, I don't feel like it's that bad. I feel like, it's a good thing that, Wuthering Waves has been pushing on a lot of these kind of games. Now, they say, asking for everyone's honest opinion, do you guys believe that? Because I swear, this is just random. So every time Honkai Star Rail, ZZZ, or Genshin does something, it'll always be because of wuwa. And when they don't do something, it'll always be because big bad Hoyoverse. Are people not allowed to be happy? Now, I do kind of understand where they're coming from, but I also don't at the same time. I mean, I feel like, it's not a random event. I feel like it is very, very planned. Now, obviously, I think what they're expecting here is for like Wuthering Waves to release a really big thing and then Zenless Zone Zero to instantly respond. That isn't the case. I feel like what Hoyoverse is doing is they're planning out, they're kind of scheduling a lot of stuff to kind of, combat that, rather than going like straight away, let's release an update the day after they do because we're going to be competing. That's not going to be the case. What they're going to do is they're going to wait out a little bit. They're going to plan some really good updates, and that is how Wuthering Waves will improve all of these games, even for it just existing. We don't have to get into any event specific details, any character specific details, any story specific details, anything like that. Literally, Wuthering Waves existing and doing good is a motivating factor for Hoyoverse to do even better, and we're seeing it right now. And I feel like it is a little bit disingenuous to say that, it isn't a factor, and that Wuthering Waves didn't have a big impact on the Gacha community ever since, especially version 2.0 as well. Obviously, I think a lot of people were less worried about Wuthering Waves, including Hoyoverse as well, before 2.0, because they saw it slowing down a little bit. But now they picked up with rinascita and everything like that, and it's really, really popping off at the moment. It's making Zenless Zone Zero step up their game, which they have done, obviously, as you saw with the new update. Even I came back to Zenless Zone Zero, and it's been a ton of fun. Honkai Star Rail stepping up their game, as we literally looked at in this video, and Genshin Impact stepping up their game in their own kind of way. I feel like they haven't done anything major yet. Maybe they will in the future, but, in terms of like rewards and stuff, even that's just stepped up ever since, Wuthering Waves have come out. And, I feel like it's not a coincidence. And I feel like a lot of people are being disingenuous to say that it's just random and that Hoyoverse are just like kind of randomly doing it because they're so nice. No, it's because there's competition out at the moment. And I just kind of wanted to give you guys a little bit of a talk on why this is happening and why competition is a good thing, by the way. I feel like competition is a very, very good thing for all of these companies, as I said at the start of this video. And I can't wait to see what kind of new updates, what kind of new events, whatever these companies have planned for the future, because again, it's going to be absolutely amazing. Now, obviously, Genshin Impact might be the first one to kind of drop off out of all of these, just due to the fact that it's older. I mean, that's fine. But I feel like we still got so many more years left in some of these other games, which again is going to be very, very exciting to see. And it's going to be very, very exciting to see how it develops, how Wuthering Waves develops in the future as well, because again, they've got a ton of new stuff planned and how they can help to push the rest of the community forward. Because again, I think this is a very, very positive thing. I think a lot of people are thinking about this too negatively, and I can understand why people are a little bit butthurt because they're like, oh, Wuthering Waves doesn't deserve anything, stuff like that. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. All that matters is that all of our games are doing good and they're helping to push each other. So also let me know down in the comments what kind of gacha game you've been enjoying at the moment, because again, there's a ton out, not even just these games, but some others. And what's your favorite part of that? But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, then don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And as I said, also go to GameStop, use my code Keza. They got a ton of really cool stuff. Definitely recommend going over there. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.